Welcome to Retro Ralph. You got caged, so get over here.
Hey Retrospectors, this is take 2 at the Daniel Pesina interview. We're here at the Highlander Event Center in Cincinnati and for the Cincinnati Classic. Let's get in there and let's do this interview right this time. Take 2, right?
Round 2, fight.
Round 2, that's awesome. So,
how are you?
Yes, great. So it's an honor to meet you and to do the interview. Sorry on my part, that was totally my fault.
No, don't even worry about that.
So,
but things happen.
Yeah. So, Richard DeVizio, Daniel Pesina, Carlos Pesina, like John Parrish, all these guys, like they were household names for me and my friends back in the day, and it is an honor to actually interview you for our channel. So. How did you get the role of Johnny Cage?
To be in the game or the role of Johnny Cage?
How did the game start? How did you get into the game?
Okay, I only asked that because originally I hung out with John Tobias a little bit. He was in our neighborhood way before Mortal Kombat. I was a geek, collected comic books. We played D&D as a group. Sure. So years later, John calls me up and said, "Hey, will you help me pitch? I have an idea. I want to do a fighting game." And years ago, like when he was in films, in art school, he wanted to do a film short of a kung fu movie, which never happened. We were driving out to a location, and his dad's car got hit. Not John's fault, but the car got totaled, so we were stranded out by the forest preserve. But we never got to do that project. So years later, he's just like, remember when we wanted to do that kung fu movie? He's like, but I got an idea for a fighting game. He was like, will you help me pitch the idea to this company I work for, Midway Games? And I was like, sure, what do we got to do? And he's like, well, come to work after hours because I don't want anybody to see my idea about the fighting game. I want to do a complete presentation, so I don't want, things to leak out about it. So we showed up late at night and filmed some martial art moves. And at that time, he had a few drawings, and he's like, I'm going to show these to the company.
Yeah, John Tobias does all the artwork, doesn't he? Didn't he do the original artwork for like the comic books and stuff?
Yeah. Plus, it's his original ideas. Sure. He's the main creator of Mortal Kombat.
Great artist.
Yeah, he's his idea. Luckily, all of us who got to help collaborate on the game and co-create it, he's the father of Mortal Kombat.
That's awesome.
John is.
Yeah.
So he showed this video and his artwork to Midway, and then he's like, okay, hey, they like the idea, and one of the guys wants to meet you and hear more ideas, and he set up a meeting. So it was a meeting between John was there, my brother Carlos, Rich DeVizio, and it's the first time that I met Ed Boon. Yep. And so we pitched the game to Ed originally. So and at that time, it was like they thought it would be a better idea to take our fighting game idea and try to give it to Jean-Claude Van Damme because, you make more money. Yeah. We were thinking of a low-budget game, and, he was like, oh, it sounds like a good idea. Let's try to do that. Yeah. So, Jean-Claude said no, so it got kicked back to us. Okay. To do it, and originally I wanted to be the Daniel Rad character, Johnny Cage character. Okay. That's who it originally is done after, but because we kind of had this relationship where we're kind of teasing each other all the time, John was like, nope, you're going to be Stryker. So originally I was going to be Stryker. He was going to make me be Stryker.
Wow, Stryker didn't show up until Mortal Kombat 3, so wow.
Yeah, when after Van Damme said no to the game, John was like, he's like, we're going to take the Daniel Rad character. We're still going to do it like that, but we're going to throw in some little jokes about Jean-Claude Van Damme. And I was like, okay. I wasn't keen on it, but I was like, okay, I can do some stuff. So
that's cool. Well, that's neat at the beginning. Did you ever expect Mortal Kombat to get so big?
No. Again, when we were doing it. They told me we're going to do 200 arcade cabinets, and I used to tease John and Ed, and I'd be like, "You're going to do 201 because I will get a cabinet," and they were like, "No, you know how expensive they are. We're only doing 200 cabinets," and I was like, "Well, if you get 201, I will let you do as many cabinets as you want."
Oh, wow. Okay.
And they were like, no, we're only doing tune hardened cabinets. And then later on, they pre-sold 10,000 cabinets. And I still didn't get a cabinet or anything like that.
Wow.
But yeah, I got freaking shut down on that one.
Who's your favorite Mortal Kombat character?
Would be Johnny Cage, because he's the father of all characters. We filmed him the most. We filmed for like 5 days as Johnny Cage martial art move. On like the 5th or 6th day, we had Ed come in and take a look at what we were doing, because we didn't even have anything for the programmer then.
Oh, wow.
We didn't have any idea of like movement or anything like that. We were looking at movements, like a punch, boom, boom, and then we looked at him and like, oh, you got to freaking exaggerate it. So we were like, okay, uppercut like this became a bigger uppercut, and eventually, and we tried to do different movements. We tried to use different kung fu techniques, but again, because John's dad owned a camera, so it wasn't like a production quality camera. Right. It's a freaking home camera, so a lot of the movements, we couldn't tell. If you poked like this, it looked almost like a fist. So we started looking at it and be like, okay, we can't do that. Just do a fist.
Okay.
So, different things.
Oh, wow. Okay, so you're limited by the technology a little bit. So.
Yeah.
Okay. I saw that you went to C2E2 and you were actually with all the other cast members from like Mortal Kombat 1 and 2 and 3. Do you guys stay in contact?
Yeah. We were friends before Mortal Kombat, and we continue to be friends afterwards.
Are they mostly in Chicago in that area?
For the majority are still in Chicago.
Okay.
All of us have roots there, so
sure.
That's where Midway was, and that's where we were John's friend before that. So, we pretty much basically stayed there.
Okay. How much time in your life does does the Mortal Kombat stuff take up in your life?
Not enough. No. Too, because it's like the characters have like the personalities I gave them. Okay. When we were making Mortal Kombat, nobody was like, do this. Usually it was do something cool, and then we would collaborate on that and expand it.
Okay.
So when they were like, okay, Johnny Cage is an actor, and I would be like, doing the cocky stuff and stuff like that. So it's like, Johnny Cage, Scorpion, Sub-Zero, and to a little bit of extent, Reptile have parts of my personality in them. That's where that's where it comes from.
You're kind of
well as the other characters. Like if you ever get to meet Rich, who's Kano, you'll be like, holy cow, he acts like Kano, because it's not actually acting. It's
hide your wallet.
It's easy to put your personality into something, easier than acting.
My name is Liu Kang. If you want to get to the top, you gotta get through me.
I'm Johnny Cage. No contest.
Ha! I'm Sonya Blade. If you hesitate, I'll take you down.
Wow, that's pretty cool. So Mortal Kombat just made it into the Video Game Hall of Fame like 2 weeks ago. That was pretty awesome.
Yeah,
so what do you think about that?
Yeah, I think it's really cool, and I'm honored to be in it. And again, I'm on the side of the cabinet. John put me on the side at the last minute. He was like, hey, I want to put you on the side of the cabinet because, you really collaborated with us and helped build this game. So he's like, you really came out, and helped us with it. So Absolutely. I'm going to honor you with the side, and then now I get the honor of.
That's awesome.
If it's forever.
Yeah, and your brother's on the side of Mortal Kombat 2.
Yeah.
So that's awesome.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. So what do you think of Johnny Cage in the newer games? How he's portrayed?
I think he's a little. It's different than I acted in 1 and 2.
Sure.
Like even though he was like kind of a show off, it takes years of martial art discipline. I mean, he's not like a guy who just studied martial art for 2 or 3 years. The Johnny Cage is like practiced for a long time.
Sure.
So him being goofy, I can't really understand. I think
just a different creative direction.
Yeah, and I understand that. They have people contributing to the game now.
Yeah.
And it's got to grow. So if they want him to go in that direction, they own it. They can do that.
Sure. So I need to break the internet for just a second. Are the Lin Kuei ninjas?
I see the ninja has been successful in retrieving my map, as I have foreseen.
Let's get something straight. I am not a ninja. I am Lin Kuei.
Where's the ninja convention?
Lin Kuei are not ninjas.
So why dress like one?
The Lin Kuei are Chinese ninjas, and I made them. When we were meeting John's original drawings, if you look at his original drawings, they're Japanese ninjas. And then I was like, because it's so low budget and because we were going to collaborate and create it, I was like, John, we have to use the Lin Kuei for ninjas. And John is like, Lin Kuei, I've never heard of them. Oh, yeah. And then I goofing around, being a smartass that I am, I was like, naturally, they're ninjas. You're not supposed to hear about them or see them. So I told him there's a book called Art of the Vagabond and do that. And he's like, oh, do you have that book? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, oh, lend it to me. And I'm like, because I collect comic books, I'm just like, no, I'm not going to lend you this book because I'll never freaking get it back.
Yeah, right.
And two, you could go buy your own. And so I took him to the store and told him took him to the store that we bought all of our martial art equipment for the game, and they had the book there, and I made them buy the book.
Wow.
So the Lin Kuei are okay. My, yeah, it's me.
That's all we needed to know. That's all we needed to know.
And they're brothers.
Yes. So you teach martial arts in Chicago, correct?
Yes.
Okay. What can you tell us about that? What form of martial arts do you teach?
I teach traditional martial arts. Traditional martial arts are basically all the same. The seasoning is different. Like if you have a chicken, you put barbecue on it, it's still chicken. If you put teriyaki on it, it's still the main ingredients are chicken. Traditional martial arts are killing art. It's only when you make it a sport is it a different really style. Like mixed martial arts is only mixed because they mix the rules. Traditional martial arts, you don't really mix because the aim is to defend yourself, defend a village, defend a city, defend a government by conquering and killing. So it's a one of my masters, I was like, master, what style do you really like the most? He goes, well, I prefer this style. And I was like, so that's the best style, and picking his brain, he's like, what is the best style? And then I was like, no, I was like all excited listening to him. And he's like, you funnel your opponents into a small area where you have a high point and you pile rocks up there, and then when they get in this area you just throw the rocks, big boulders down on their head. That's the best martial art. And I was like, oh, the best martial art is strategy.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And two, there's no rules.
Okay.
It's not like, oh, a lot of people have a misperceive thinking like, oh, these guys are honorable. No, these guys are not honorable. They were all killers.
They're ready to take people out.
But the only honor was respecting an opponent. So they knew they couldn't be. Yeah, you can't be cocky about getting in a fight knowing that this guy's going to take your life. There's no rematch. It's not going to be, if you're not going to escape. This guy's going to basically kill you.
Okay.
You can't study any film and be like, oh, I'm going to come back and kill him. No, that guy's going to freaking end you right there.
Sure.
So it's serious business.
So how many classes do I need to take of yours before I start learning fatalities?
On the first one, because I'm going to do it to you.
Oh, boy.
Johnny Cage wins. Flawless victory. Fatality.
Don't make orphans of my kids. They're
right.
So where can people find you online?
Thanks for asking. I have Twitter is Master Pesina. Facebook is Master Pesina. Instagram is Master D Pesina because I cannot recall the password for Master Pesina. So I still have that account, but Instagram is very funny. It's like, in order to change the password, you have to know the last password, and it's like, well, what if you forget? Well, if you forget, you're out of luck.
Oh, Facebook's it's very similar, so I get it.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I thank you again for allowing us to do this interview again.
Yeah, thanks for your time again. Thanks for
I really
by.
Appreciate it, and that's awesome. So have a good rest of the con, and we'll see you later.
Get over here.
Thanks.
So that was the interview, and boy, am I excited that we actually finally got it and it turned out really well. It's about twice as long as the original interview, so hey, it turned out actually better. I also got him to sign my Arcade 1-Up Mortal Kombat 2 control panel, so that was really exciting. Something I'm going to absolutely value in my collection, as I have a ton of Mortal Kombat 2 stuff already. And I want to thank Eric, Brian, and Blaster Master John for going with me. And my brother picked up this bead art Metroid, Super Metroid thing. That is awesome. I have one of like this really big picture of Link that's a bead art, and it looks really, really neat and it's very unique. So that's going to go really good in my collection. I want to say thank you again to Master Daniel Pesina for being interviewed one more time for our channel. He's a personal childhood hero of mine, being in my favorite arcade game, Mortal Kombat 2, and it's something that I will cherish forever. It was a great experience. So if you liked the video, give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications if you want to see more Retro Ralph, and we'll see you guys in the next Ralph's Retrospect. See ya.